Now let's talk TSA, and we're not talking about the guys and women who do security at the airport. We're talking about a potentially controversial TSA. Tax Stabilization Act is what the letters stand for, and Mark Murphy's the editor of the Providence Business News. Cover story in this edition of the newspaper is about that. As regards the city of Providence, are there too many tax breaks or too many TSAs being issued? And I know a lot of people get excited about that when they think some big corporation is getting a break, but it's not always big corporations, is it?
No, the tax stabilization agreements are what they do is delay the full measure of taxes on a property that's being redeveloped or improved. So they'll pay the base rate for a few years, and then on a sliding scale it goes up until after a certain period of time they're paying the full amount.
Some of them are raising some debate in Providence, yes?
Well, one of the things that is going on is that for certain projects they have what's called an administrative TSA. That is, if the project meets certain conditions, it's approved essentially automatically. And so a lot of people think that that's not quite right, that especially for some of these larger ones and significant ones, that they should be reviewed by, in essence, the people who would be reviewing it as city council. But what's interesting to us is over the years, one of the reasons given by many developers for not wanting to develop in Providence is the fact that their whatever agreements had to be reached in order for them to develop were being reviewed by city council. So they were really an impediment to development. And one of the reasons that developers say they need TSAs is the cost of land, the cost of labor, and the tax rates here are so high and the rents are not high enough to cover them without this kind of help.
Your article states that more than $10 million in tax breaks has been issued in Providence over the past 17 years. This, I think, may be what is raising some concern in some quarters because Providence is always in such bad financial shape, the government, I mean.
Well, yeah. The thing is, the tax breaks are a delay in what the full taxes are. So there's been investment being made, and eventually they do get the right taxes. But one of the other things that's happening is a lot of people are saying, look, a lot of these developments, a lot of these TSAs go to housing, apartments, that are what are known as market rate. So a lot of people who are living in the city, which is relatively poor, can't afford these. So, the city is giving out breaks for housing that really the people in the city can't afford. And so I think that's a large part of it as well.
This Case Mead building on Doran Street is featured in your article, but as are other companies that have received these same kinds of TSAs or similar kinds.
Yeah, and actually the developer is Joe Paolino, the former mayor of Providence.
For Case Mead, yeah.
Right, who's become actually a pretty big landlord downtown. He's bought a lot of buildings. And he said he couldn't believe it, but it's almost sold out, at least, even though it's just being finished. So there's a great demand for people who want to live downtown, but a lot of those, again, are for folks who have, a higher income. And that's really what's, I think, driving a lot of the issue for people who are protesting them.
There's a lot more of all sides of this issue in the current edition of the Providence Business News in print and online. And Mark Murphy, we thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Frank.